Madam Speaker, to ask the Honourable Minister of Agro-Industry and Food Security whether he would state if his attention has been drawn to alleged disturbing circumstances surrounding the decision taken by the Sugar Industry Fund Board to purchase 6 arpents of agricultural land for the sum of 18 million rupees per arpent, exclusive of taxes, fees, and commissions? And if so, if consideration will be given for the widening of the terms of reference of the fact-finding committee set up inter alia to examine the report of the operations manager of the Sugar Industry Fund Board in respect of crop year 2017 to include examining the above-mentioned matter.
Madam Speaker, the decision of insuring the Mauritius sugarcane against extreme weather conditions, one of long-standing, became a reality when cyclone damage in 1945 precipitated matters at government level and at the local chamber of agriculture. The very next year saw the formal establishment.
I'm going to go back again and waste a lot of time. This question relates to purchase of land, and we have been taken to 1945. I hope you will put your foot down, Madam Speaker. This is unacceptable. This is questions of land. There's a huge scandal brewing, and we are taken back to 1945.
Well, according to the time allocated, P&Q is reserved, 30 minutes is reserved for P&Q. So, whatever, most probably, I don't know, if the Honourable Member has some important information to impart to the House, then I'll give him some leeway, but I will say that I'll give you additional time then. But however, I'll ask him to be concise in his reply.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I was saying that the very next year saw the formal establishment in October of a cyclone and drought insurance fund through Ordinance number 53 of 1946, with compulsory insurance for all cane planters and millers, and an obligation on the latter to provide all relevant information to that insurance board, with powers to inspect fields.
Has nothing to do with the question. It's a purchase of land, Madam Speaker. There's a huge scandal brewing, purchase of land, and we're taking to insure nobody. The question has nothing to do with insurance of planters. Please, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Leader of Opposition, as I said, I'll give him some latitude to expand on his question, as I believe he may have some important information to impart to the House. Having said so, Honourable Leader of Opposition, I guarantee you that if he takes more time than requires, I will give you additional time for supplementary questions.
Just as a matter of clarification, Madam Speaker, the Insurance Fund Board has to cater for indemnities. And for that, we have to explain how they come up with investment decisions. So it's all set up in the Act, how they go about to cater for.
Give your reply. Give your reply,
So I was saying that, Madam Speaker, Section 3 of the Sugar Insurance Fund Act provides for the establishment of the fund, and the objects of the funds are to insure the sugar industry against loss due to cyclones, drought, excessive rainfall, or fire, and insure the refiners authorized by the syndicate to optimize value added for the whole of the sugar industry through the production of refined sugar against loss due to cyclones, drought, or excessive rainfall, and to carry out such activities relating to agricultural or insurance as the board may determine. The board may enter into an insurance contract with the refiner in respect of the production of refined sugar. Section 10 of the Act provides for an investment committee, which is presided by the chairman of the board and consists of an ex officio member, who shall be the deputy chairman, a representative of Chamber of Agriculture, and one other member to be elected by the board for such term of office as the board may determine. The actual investment committee is therefore composed of the following members: Mr. Luchan Vivekanan, the chairman, and he was appointed on March 2015. Mr. Deobrat Bandhu, from the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. His appointment was since July 2001 till March 2018.
Yeah.
And he was replaced by...
Honorable Minister, I'm sorry. Here I think I have to interrupt you because the question has nothing to do with the board members. I don't think you need to give details of who sits on this board.
Madam Speaker, it is this investment committee that directs the board to invest.
Sure,
okay?
but
Section,
there's no need,
Section 17
need
of the Act empowers the board to invest any money forming part of the asset of the fund. 17, yes, of the Act, which empowers the board to invest any money forming part of the asset of the fund which is not required to meet the liabilities of the fund. Madam Speaker, with a view to establishing a more balanced investment portfolio, the board deemed it fit to invest in properties as investment in other assets were not yielding adequate return. On the other hand, income derived from premium has reduced substantially, that is around 50%, and was waived on 2 occasions for the crop 2014 and 2015 to alleviate financial burdens of the producers. Accordingly, investment in high return assets was deemed to be the most appropriate investment strategy by the SIFB. It is to be noted that the latter has invested in property since 1974. The SIFB board has, at its meeting of 28 February 2018, decided that the proceeds of 35 million rupees from government for the compulsory acquisition of the sub-offices of Pamplemousse and Suyak be invested in the purchase of land. In that respect, SIFB started looking for land availability from private sector in the region of Eben and Trianon. The SIFB was informed that Elova Properties Limited was selling land in the region. Contact was made with the company and proposal was received for 6 acres of land at 18 million rupees per arpent. The site is found some 100 meters from Terre Rouge Verde Trianon Link Road and is 400 meters from Eben Cyber City, where exists a whole array of services and facilities such as markets, supermarkets, schools, restaurants, offices, banks, etc. It lies within the growth zone as per the outline scheme of the Municipal Council of Quatre-Bornes, which allows major developments such as light, industrial, commercial, and residential. Based on the above descriptions, analysis, and site characteristics, the open market value of the plot of land of the extent of 25,323 square meters, that is 6 arpents, was assessed by the internal survey staff, who are sworn land surveyors, at 19 million rupees per arpent. As per Title Deed 9073/41, State Bank of Mauritius Limited acquired from London Satellite Systems Limited a plot of land of an extent of 1 arpent 83 perches for 57 million rupees, dated 5th November 2013. This acquisition is 31 million rupees per arpent. Hermes Development Limited is already coming with a vibrant urban development comprising commercial shopping mall, business parks, located 1,000 meters from SIFB Trianon land, which will have a direct impact on the incoming increase in the surrounding land values. The fact that Mauritius is gearing towards high-income economy for the next 10 years, property prices are bound to soar. Already, the construction sector has a positive growth of around 4%. The above factors led SIFB to believe it is a worthwhile investment which will be beneficial in the near future. Madam Speaker, decision was taken to buy the plot of land based on searches made by internal sworn land surveyors and economic factors mentioned above. The board considered this acquisition as a good capital investment. The purchase consideration was paid from the proceeds of the compulsory acquisition by government of the properties of SIFB at Pamplemousse and Souillac, and profit from sales of investment on the stock exchange. The 6 acres of land were purchased from Société de Glasgow Limited, represented by Mr. Eric Piat, through Elova Properties Limited, for the amount of 115.9 million rupees, inclusive of the price of land for the amount of 108 million rupees, agency fee 1.9 million rupees, notary fees 0.6 million rupees, and registration duty 5.4 million rupees. This is not the first time that the SIFB is investing in properties. In the past, the SIFB bought and sold properties whereby the profit realized indicated good investment policy. I mean, I could give some examples, but I won't take more time of the House. Madam Speaker, given that government has already set up a fact-finding committee, and the purchase of this plot of land has raised queries in different quarters, after consultation with the Prime Minister, I'm widening the scope of the terms of reference of the fact-finding committee.
Madam Speaker, at least that's a welcome result. Let me nevertheless go through my questions for the public to know what is happening, because having listened to the Honourable Minister, I know it was not under his watch, it was under the watch or the responsibility of the Prime Minister at the time, but still let's go through it. And having listened to him, Madam Speaker, I am more and more satisfied that he's an arnaque of gigantic proportions, which has cost the SIFB maybe 60 million rupees or more. Let me just one thing. The Honourable Minister has not mentioned the date that the investment committee approved this purchase, has gone through it. He has not mentioned the date of the meeting of the board of the investment committee.
Madam Speaker, the decision was taken on 28th February 2018.
This is I understand, this is the full board. This is not the board of the investment committee. Now the investment committee sits on by itself. Can you confirm that is the full board that is on the 28th?
It is the full board.
Madam Speaker, again, Section 17 says that it is under the recommendation of the investment committee. So there was no investment committee. We agree on that.
All the investment with regard to properties goes to the full board, what I'm told.
Contrary to Section 17 of the Act, which says that the board of directors may, on the recommendation of the investment committee, invest. And in this case, there was no investment committee, so we have established that, Madam Speaker. Can I again ask the Honourable Minister? I know it's not his fault, but I will go through my questions. Who evaluated the land? Now, as we know, we have to manage a company like this en bon père de famille. You have to take all necessary precautions. It's not your money. It is the petit planteur's money. It is the planteur's money. Now, what was the independent valuer, government valuer? It is a parastatal body, has access to a government valuer. Why was there no independent? I know you are looking behind you. What was the independent valuation carried out? Outside independent valuation, please.
Madam Speaker, first, let me reassure the House that the members of the investment committee are members of the board. So I did mention I was about to mention the list of the members of the investment committee, but I was allowed to, but they are members of the full board, and that's why the decision to go for the acquisition was taken by the board, which comprises of all the members of the investment committee. With regard to the evaluation, like I said, there are sworn land surveyors at the level of the Sugar Insurance Fund, and they are the one who carried out the evaluation, and they came up with a figure of 19 million rupees per arpent of the land that was acquired for 18 million rupees. Despite that, there has been an independent evaluation that was carried out lately, and the name of the valuer, I'm told, is Mr. Let me just okay. The in-house surveyor.
No, please.
The in-house surveyor.
Allow me, Honourable Minister, please sit down. I wish to draw attention of the House that those who are here to help the Minister, they cannot reply for the Minister.
I was just saying, Mr. Madam, just to clear the air, the in-house surveyor carried out the valuation, right? And his name is Mr. R. Sadi Rishikumar. Despite that, and that where I mentioned the value was 90 million rupees that he came up with, but we paid 18 million rupees. Despite that, an independent valuer carried out it's Mr. Jitun. He carried out an evaluation lately, and he came up with a value of 20 million rupees for the value of that land per arpent.
Lately is when? Madam Speaker, this was bought in May 2018. The board paper which I have here makes no mention of any independent valuation. Now you come up with Mr. Jitun. Please, let us table a copy with the date of the independent valuation. Now, Madam Speaker, the board paper here, this is shocking, Madam Speaker, you will be shocked, refers to 2 previous purchases of land. This is how they convinced the board to
Honourable Leader of Opposition, can I know from which paper?
This is the board paper, Madam Speaker.
It's a board paper.
Yes, I will stand by the board paper, Madam Speaker.
Oh,
now,
and,
one
and
company...
you are prepared to table that board
yes,
paper
I will table
as
yes.
well. Okay.
One company called Arnake apparently bought in March 2015 for 18 million rupees. Arnake doesn't exist. We cannot find Arnake anywhere. Another one, Mr. Patrick Howe. We couldn't find Mr. Patrick Howe having bought any land in the vicinity in March 2015. Are you aware? These copies of these board meetings go to the Ministry of Finance. They are checked by the Ministry of Finance because it's the board of the Ministry of Finance. Did the Ministry of Finance at the time inquire into the justification, these 2 companies, this company, this other person? One doesn't exist, Arnake. The other one hasn't bought any land there, and this is a justification back in 2015, Madam Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I gave the example of the State Bank of Mauritius, who purchased a plot of land in the vicinity of that where SIFB bought the land, and the value that they paid for was 31 million rupees per arpent.
Okay, I will give very recently. State land was a long time ago. Before Heritage City, before Bakatel Dam was going to burst, the value of land has crashed in that area, and I will give you. Madam Speaker, there's one minister, very famous minister, known as Ashte Bomase.
Leader of Opposition, yes. Let me draw your attention, please. Région. Let me draw your attention to the fact that you're not supposed to make a statement. Ask your question, and you will have the opportunity of asking more questions if you don't make lengthy statements.
Let me ask the minister whether he is aware that another of his colleagues, Minister knows Ashte Bomase Van Seer, has just bought a piece of land in the vicinity, same road as this piece of land by SIFB, same road. He bought 1 acre of land, Madam Speaker, 3 weeks ago. Do you know how much? 5 million rupees. 5 million rupees bought by the wife of Minister Hashnu. Another piece of land next door to SIFB sold a few weeks ago also, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, ask the question.
This is important. He doesn't know. He's talking to me about state land 10 years ago. I'm talking about yesterday. 5 million Ashte Bomase, Van Seer. 6 million rupees bought by Mr. Burton. I will also table that. Is he aware that these are two purchases of land in the recent months? Next door, Madam Speaker. Next door to SIFB.
Madam Speaker, again, if in 2013 the value was 31 million rupees per arpent, you're saying that now it's gone down. But again, I go by this report from the independent valuer that dates 22nd March 2018, and he came up with a value of 20 million rupees for that same land that was purchased at 80 million rupees.
The more, Madam Speaker, he mentioned MS, but he forgot to mention what price MS paid for the land. What price is prime land on the road with water, electricity, everything? What price was it? Do you know what price it was?
Madam Speaker, again, this is... Well, I didn't go for the AMS. How would I go to value the land of AMS when it has nothing to do with the SIFB? What I'm talking about is the valuer, the internal valuer, came with 90 million rupees per arpent. An independent valuer, NP Giton Chartered Valuation Surveyors, came up with a value of 20 million rupees for that same land per arpent. And it was purchased for 80 million rupees.
Madam Speaker, you forgot to mention in his formal reply that Hermes, far better land, on the main road, with water, electricity, even a borehole, was sold for 13 million rupees per arpent, Madam Speaker. 13. This one is in terres. I went yesterday. And, Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister whether he is aware that even on this land that they bought, which is the great arnaque, stealing from Tiplanteur and from the others, that this land is adjacent to a high-tension wire. I have pictures. I will give you pictures in a moment. High-tension wire, which has building restrictions. Are you aware of that, Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I'm aware of the fact that there are high-tension wires that goes. It's not on the land of the SIFB who purchased the land that was purchased by SIFB. Is on a land adjacent to that land purchased by SIFB, and I'm told that the land is some 100 meters away, and there is no kind of restriction with regard to any development that would affect any development on the land of SIFB.
I would table, Madam Speaker, there's also a kalimai on the land, but I would table a picture which is clearly that the high-tension wire is adjacent, and you know that 13 meters either side. Is the Minister aware that 13 meters either side there are building restrictions for high-tension wires?
I'm told, Madam Speaker, it's far more, the distance between the land of the SIFB and the land where it's found the high-tension wires is far more than 30 meters away.
Well, Madam Speaker, this is not correct. And you should, I don't blame you because it's not your responsibility, but it is still not correct. Has the Minister bothered to go on Express Properties to see what is the price actually being offered for land in that very vicinity of the famous SIFB land, going, Madam Speaker, from 6 million to 9 million rupees. Obviously, Minister Osnu got a good deal at 5 million rupees, but the land there. And in this picture, you will see Minister Osnu's land also.
I mean, based on what is being alleged by the leader of the opposition, I mean, I think now the fact that we have extended the terms of reference of that fact-finding committee, I'm sure those will be looked into, and if those points being raised by the criminal leader of the opposition are found to be founded, this will come out during this inquiry.
I will happily depone, Madam Speaker, if I am called. Is the Minister aware that the report, the famous report on erudite city by Mr. Samper at the time, mentioned the high risk of the dam breaking, and that caused the heritage city to move. And with the moving of the heritage city, then the land obviously around it fell in value considerably. Is the Honourable Minister aware of this report by the Lux Consult in 2016?
Well, I'm aware of the report. I haven't read the report, though.
Madam Speaker, is the Honourable Minister aware that the same board meeting, not the investment committee, because the investment committee are meant to look more detailed into investment. The board is meant to look at the big thing, and it has been contravened, Section 17 of the Act. Madam Speaker, is the Honourable Minister aware that in the same board meeting of 28 February, that the decision to buy the land at SIFB came concomitant with the decision not to declare an event here for the planters, therefore not to give them compensation. It was the same famous board meeting.
Madam, with regard to the declaration of whether a year is an event year or not, it's based on information that are worked out depending on the production of sugar. And like I said again, at that time when they worked out the sugar production, they decided it's not going to be declared an event year. But I'm told also in the process, because that was the first data that we received from the Control and Arbitration Board, and they have to keep on analyzing the information received to eventually come up with a final decision.
Speaker, I'd like to ask Honourable Minister, concerning, on the board paper, this famous board paper, which I'll table, Madam Speaker, it said that there had been informally, the management had gathered information informally and had come up with a price of 22 million rupees per arpent. Apparently, that got that from the Government Valuer's Office. Informally. Why didn't SIFB, which has access to the Government Valuer's Office and the permission of the Minister of Finance, why didn't SIFB, buying so much land, not resort to valuation, not from every person? I don't know this, Mr. Jitan. Why didn't they resort to the government valuer? Tell me that.
Well, Madam Speaker, I said they already have in-house sworn land surveyor, competent land surveyors who have been with them for years, and they have relied on the services of those in-house land surveyors. But also, like I said again, they went to seek independent valuers. Well, I'm not going to compete. Are you going to question the competence of that particular land surveyor? Well, he's a, I mean, like I said, NP Jitan Chartered Valuation Surveyors. And he gave his report, and where it's clearly mentioned that the value he came up with was 20 million rupees per arpent.
I'm extremely surprised, Madam Speaker. I've shown the Minister that land is being sold for a third of the price, and yet he hides behind some valuation made, I believe, in March, after the decision to buy. How can someone be so obtuse as not to understand that land is being sold at a third of the price, Madam Speaker? And I welcome the fact that there's a committee, a fact-finding committee. But still, there must be some decency. We cannot defend l'indéfendable, Madam Speaker.
Madam, I'm not, if I was defending, I wouldn't have proposed that the terms of reference be extended. So we are open to look at all those allegations so that at least the truths come up. So, I mean, let now, the fact that we have extended that mandate of that committee, we'll see.
Because the Minister is a respected accountant for his own reputation. I plead for his own reputation, not to look silly in front of the whole nation. No. It is being sold even AMS 13 million. You're hiding behind the valuation of 20 million from some land surveyor and land valuer. Madam Speaker, the board meeting was in February, was it not? You mentioned that the valuation was in March. Have you ever heard of this? You buy and then you value?
I'm just, Madam Speaker, informing the House what they did. They went on to at least have the comfort. In fact, I mean, again, Madam Speaker, don't feel sorry for me. Don't feel sorry. You keep.
Please do not interrupt the Honourable Minister. He has to reply. Do not interrupt him. Allow him to reply.
Again, Madam Speaker, I have been trying to give the maximum information to the House, and you said yourself, I'm an accountant, I do understand figures and facts, and that is why I have recommended that the mandate of that fact-finding committee be extended to also look into that particular transaction.
I will finish, and then you should also say that it's not normal for the valuation to be done after a decision to purchase has been made, and also in contradiction to what actual figures are happening. Madam Speaker, this is my last question. We have a board, we have a management there that is obviously not acting, least you can say, as a bon père de famille. This is the principle that he will know also as an accountant. This management should be suspended, pending the first inquiry and the extended inquiry. This is what the public expects, this is what the planters expect, and if they are clear out, I'm happy. But likelihood is, Madam Speaker, that there has been maldonne of a gigantic scale again in the purchase of this piece of land. So let us all agree, Madam Speaker, that this management ought to be suspended forthwith until the end of the fact-finding committee.
First, let me again inform the House that there was a valuation of the candidate well before the purchase. It was done by the internal land surveyor, competent land surveyors, and it was followed by an independent land surveyor. Not saying that we did the purchase first and then came up with the valuation. First, there was a valuation in-house. Secondly, to give comfort, they went for an independent surveyor.
In surprise, Madam Speaker, the minutes quote to one Arkenitz doesn't exist. Even Arkenitz didn't buy anything there. So you cannot say that you have relied on some internal investigation when the company doesn't exist. It's mentioned twice in the board minute. And Mr. Patrice Howe, I don't want to say his full name, he doesn't appear to have bought any land in the vicinity. So this is what I'm saying to you. Open your eyes. This is not acceptable that this management continues with board minutes that are false with bogus companies.
Madam Speaker, my eyes are wide open, and that is why we have extended the mandate of the fact-finding committee to look into all those allegations so that the truth will come out of it.
And will it be suspended? Yes.
Well, we'll look into that.
Time is over.